Welcome to What Do You Think of This? We're revisiting the best things from our past to let you know whether they're the best thing for your future. I'm Jeff Abyad. This is Josue Escobar.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing, Josue?
I'm good. Hope everyone's doing well out there in the interwebs.
In the interwebs, I was thinking about this coming off of last week's Cool Runnings episode with Kayla, which was super fun.
It was.
We have now launched. We were in the epic spring of 2025, and now it's like the summer of magic.
The summer of magic. Yeah, I know, right?
We hit the Disney magic, and now we're just full on into it.
Yeah.
This movie we're talking about today, I promoted last week. It's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, but not that one. And it wants to be epic as a story, but it's more magic than it is epic. And we'll talk about that in a second.
That's true. I was going to say, and no one was alive to see it. No one that I know. But this came out in 1988. So I was, 4 years old.
This came out
3 years old.
The same year 4 Jamaican intrepid bobsledders were on their way to the Olympics.
That's crazy.
Same year.
Wow.
Well, it made me think about like childhood, obviously, but my like epic dreams, you play as a kid, make believe. Maybe kids do that less now, but you're trying to get your kids outside to just go do something, go have fun, go make something up.
Yeah, go through a wardrobe to go outside.
What was your make-believe world as a kid? Like when you would go out and play and imagine and whatever, what would come to your mind?
Oh man, that's a good question. I don't recall anymore. I mean, maybe I think it was all over the place, depending on what the kids that I was hanging out with wanted to play, right? Like
sure.
Pirates or cowboys and Indians. I remember playing that when I was little one
Kids
time.
don't play that anymore. Now it's cowboys and Native Americans.
Yeah.
Now it's indigenous people and colonizers.
Oh, wow.
Womp womp womp.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to the good old days, guys. Come on.
Yeah, well,
being so sensitive
of oppression. It's all pretty brutal.
That's all it was. I mean, let's be honest. That's what it was. Cowboys who ranched, and that's what you called a cowboy, the guys who ranched cattle and all that kind of stuff. And then they referred to as the Native Americans as Indians, and it was like they were they fought against each other. So the cowboys and Indians, why name it? Who cares? Bunch of whiners and complainers out there.
I was thinking too, because we're going to talk about it with this movie, but as a kid, you want like the epic battle, but the cutaway when the real violence happens, which happens a few times in this movie. But I remember as a kid a few times owning like a plastic sword in a sheath and like strapping it to my back and riding my bike out to some like hidden fort that a friend and I had. When Tucson, there was this spot like behind our apartment complex, and for some reason there was all this bamboo growing. Anything growing in the desert is weird. And then we built this like fort, it was like the place that we would go and hang out. But it was like I think it was like a big sewer tunnel or something, because I remember strapping flashlights to our heads and seeing oh, how far can we get in there? Stuff like that.
Yeah, we did that stuff too. I mean, I want to recall like jungle, pretending you're in the jungle kind of thing, in the forest and walking through and trying to discover like, I don't know, artifacts. I think Indiana Jones is a really big influence.
Right.
And Goonie was probably like trying to find treasure. That's why it was like the pirates and whatever. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't sports or like shooting each other with Nerf guns or water guns, it was like trekking through like, whatever little brush we could find,
Yeah, and I don't know why that's specifically like, I don't know how much of it is just it's a guy thing, because I remember also playing house with my sister.
Yeah,
and my cousin, like we would do that. But if it was just the guys, it's like give me a bow and arrow.
Yep.
Or some slingshot,
some war paint. Yeah, let's just hang out in the bushes.
Yeah, so I feel like a lot of these like stories and movies and whatever like this sort of fueled that energy.
Do you feel like this also is kind of like, I don't know, attractive to like girls and women?
I do think that, and this is why, because I was introduced to this story through my sister, who had read the book. And we can talk about it, but the book, it's It's less, and that's why I feel like this is less like Lord of the Rings is very epic, and it's got its own, poetic stuff too, but Tolkien and Lewis or whatever. Then even nowadays stuff like Harry Potter, which kind of hits both demographics and stuff too.
Yeah.
I just feel like C.S. Lewis leans specifically in this series into kids in a way that like it's not heavy on the battle stuff, but that's there.
Yeah.
But it's also I don't, you know what I mean? Like it's a different dynamic.
Yeah. It's really funny because like I'm not a big C.S. Lewis fan.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that not to offend anybody. Like I don't mean that I'm not a fan of his because I know his work.
You just don't have the history?
I don't have the history. I don't know. I don't, my knowledge of him is pretty much the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah.
It's not something that was a book that was in our house or whatever. Because I grew up in a predominantly Hispanic household. Yeah, we had completely different. My parents had different influences or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So as an adult, the Chronicles of Narnia was introduced to me by women.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering like, oh, is this is it appeals to like to kids, to men, to women. But why is it that our experiences are being introduced to it by girls?
Yeah.
There's got to be something about it. Because there's adventure, there's violence, there's swordplay.
Yeah.
There's scary moments. There's all these, like the ghouls and whatever.
Yeah.
And kind of like like you're saying, Lord of the Rings and all that. But that's more of like the guys' demographic than the girls. I don't know.
Here's what I think. We're not even into that. We haven't even hit the intro yet.
Yeah.
But when you go to Lord of the Rings, like look at the Fellowship. It's 9 dudes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And this story, you get introduced into the whole world by a little girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get, they're kind of this like linchpin characters, and the guys are there too. But yeah, I feel like it's kind of equally divided. And your big enemy in this one is a woman.
Yeah.
Sort of.
So what do you mean?
Well, she's not human.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, well, before we get into it, I feel like we need to hit an intro. And because like I told you last week, I feel like this is the same sort of vibes as Alice. Not because of quality, but because of the way I was introduced to it. Like
Okay.
I went back and watched this. This is the 1988 BBC version of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Crazy.
And as a kid, like we may have checked it out from the library or something, but I remember having the VHS tapes and watching it. And to the point that I remembered it as like, oh, I know this movie. When I went back and watched this, and it's on YouTube, that's the only place I could find it.
Yeah,
so
me
we'll
too.
link that below. I watched it and I'm like, oh, I can almost quote the next lines. Like it's deep in me in a way that I didn't even expect. So coming back to it, I feel like in the same way as Alice, I've seen it a lot. So I thought we should revisit our TV producer studio introduction that we did Alice.
Yeah.
Fans have been clamoring for it, but I have a different
All of
angle.
our AI fans.
Yeah, I have a different angle for it this time. So are you ready?
All right,
just follow my lead on this one.
All right, let's do it.
I'll add this sound. Hello, Mr. Producer, sir.
Hello there.
We are ready for our next feature film.
Oh, the last one was so successful. I'm excited to hear it.
Good. Because here's the deal. Technology has advanced so much. And
Yes, it has.
we not only want to introduce this epic story to a new generation,
Yes.
we want to reintroduce it to generations past.
Oh,
And that's going to be done through time travel.
interesting.
So, sir, you're familiar with the Chronicles of Narnia?
Yes, I am. Very good book. Very good book.
Okay, yes. And so we want to translate that story with the knowledge that we have of what we can produce today. Epic movies that we've all seen in the year 2025, but we're traveling back to the year 1988. And sir, I need you to pitch to somebody in 1988 how to make this movie with the tools that they have at their disposal.
How exciting.
So remember, sir, when you go back there, there's no CGI. So I need you to just quickly tell them what to do.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So go ahead and step in this time machine.
I don't know what sound effects that thing is going to make.
Yeah, I guess now I'm going to have to be a 1988 TV producer. Okay, go ahead.
I already was.
All right. Go ahead. You got to pitch it to me, a 1988 person. Well, hello there.
Sir, How are you?
Good. I like your outfit. I don't recognize those types of clothes.
Oh, you will one day, sir. You will one day. Hold on to your bottoms. Listen, I have a proposition.
Yes, I can't wait to hear it.
I want to introduce to you a story
Yes.
about children who go to a magical place.
This sounds familiar.
It is a story I think you are very familiar with.
Okay.
The Chronicles of Narnia.
I love those books.
Now, there is witches, ghouls, flying,
Stuff I can't even
Swords.
imagine.
and a lion who talks and roars and talks with and interacts with the human beings.
That sounds delightful. Are we going to produce this?
Yes,
How will we do it with the meager tools we have in our hands?
you have the tools, you have the technology, and I will show you how to use it.
Yes?
Animatronics, robots,
Oh,
and people dressed as animals.
are you sure this will work?
It will, and it will be fantastic. And it'll only take, well, months. It'll be a 3-hour mini-sode. And I only need a budget of $3,000.
Oh, perfect. I think I would like to hear a child tell us what this movie is about.
It's about a lion.
Oh, no, I meant the kid intro.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This version was not as good as the newer version that had only one type, live action and electronics. This one had cartoons, live action, electronics, and puppets. It was all kind of mushed together to make something that wasn't as good as the other one that is today's version. So I recommend watching the newer one other than the older one. That you can't find it anywhere. So my favorite part is probably Aslan because I like lions and lions are cool. He's cool.
If you are enjoying this episode so far,
My goodness.
I would love for you to hit the little like button or subscribe and follow if you are on a podcast platform. It helps other people find it.
Everywhere you hear and ingest media.
Yeah. So to set us up for this story that I feel like a lot of people know, there's a new version of it that's going to be coming out on Netflix.
Yeah.
Highly controversial.
Yeah, the controversial part, I want to say, I watched a couple of things of like how they made this movie, The Lion, all that kind of stuff. It was really
The
cool.
one that we watched?
The one that we watched,
Okay.
the 1988 version. The big controversy is that Aslan will be voiced by a female. What's her name?
I was going to say Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Meryl Streep.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, and at first I'm like, how are they gonna do that? Because it's a male lion. It's he's gonna have. I would
He has a
imagine
mane.
he has a mane. Like, how do you give a female voice to a lion? But we've seen women in roles like this before and didn't even know that they were in there.
The original Peter Pan.
Yeah, exactly. The Hook. Remember Hook?
Mm-hmm.
I forget who it was. Remember the
Oh, it was Glenn Close.
Glenn Close was that
That's your
that pirate,
comparison.
He's like the boo boo
box.
No, that's a woman, folks. It's not a dude. And so it can happen, and she has a fairly deeper voice and you never know what's going to happen with what they do with her voice, how they manipulate.
So wait, when you looked into it, what did you find?
Well,
I don't know enough.
There's a female inside Aslan in this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the head and the top of the front half of Aslan in this movie is a female.
Oh.
Yeah, she's inside the mouth and she's controlling the mouth and the head and the movement and the walking in the front, and then the eyeballs are being controlled by a remote control animatronic.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's a cable coming off of it somewhere?
No, it's a remote control.
It's
wireless.
wireless.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the backside of Aslan is a dude.
Of course.
So he is. I kind of imagine he is basically like leaning on top of the lady's back,
Delicately
He's
on the waist.
he's on top and behind her, kind of. But they're almost like, from what I saw, they're walking kind of almost upright against
Gosh,
each
it
other.
must have been hot in there.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, if a woman can play Aslan in the front, a guy can play him in the back. Why can't he be? Why can't it be a woman all the way around?
Keep an open mind, people. Okay, I wanted to start off today with a little quiz to get us into the story. I'm calling this "Welcome to the Neighborhood." Neigh is spelled the same way, but like horse, you know? We're going to introduce people to this cast of characters. And
Are you saying that because there's a lot of horsemen?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like we just need to get people into the world. If you're not familiar with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe or things like this, you know, there are creatures you're going to be introduced to in this that are maybe not in your day-to-day, or maybe somewhat like the ones in your day-to-day, but a little different. So some walk on hooves, some walk on paws, or some have very suspicious umbrellas. So I want to see if you can match these descriptions to the right Narnian characters or creatures or whatever. Clue number 1. I walk like a man, but I've got hooves and horns.
Walk like a man.
In winter, I carry parcels, not weapons or scorns. I serve tea, play flute. My name's quite dear, but if you're a little girl, maybe don't follow me so near.
Mr. Tumnus?
Yeah, Mr. Tumnus. Do you know what creature he is?
He is a fawn.
Can you tell our listeners what fawns are?
They are half. Is it half sheep? What's
goat.
the bottom part? Goat?
Yeah.
Part goat, part man.
Did you notice when he comes out?
It's like a minotaur, but a goat.
When he comes out with his packages, the very first in his umbrella in the snow, right? And he meets her, and then he walks her to his house.
In this movie, did he have that?
Yeah, he had I was gonna say he has a tail draped over his arm.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then they go into his house when he brings her in and gives her tea and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got his jacket off, and he's all just furry legs and a hairy chest.
Yeah. Did he slipped her something? That guy is a predator.
He told her, and that's why he was crying about it. He felt real bad about it.
Crazy.
You're saying, was there something in the tea, or was it just his magical flute? I thought it was the flute. Maybe it was in the tea.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's not the only time, by the way. This is later on, but did you notice when they're like out with the beavers and they're like, I can't sleep, and Mrs. Beaver's like, I have the perfect thing.
Yeah, I guess it's something that goes around.
They're all just drinking and what?
Passing out.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, drip.
That's right. Okay, so he's a fawn. Number 2, I'm noble and brave with a voice like a king. My roar shakes the mountains and makes the bells ring. I'm more than a lion. I'm truth wrapped in fur. When I show up, evil starts to blur. That's stupid, but sorry, ChatGPT. Nice try.
Is that Donkey Kong?
I just started replaying the old one with Clark, Donkey Kong Country.
Oh, yeah? Oh, dude. So good. Yeah, that's Aslan.
Yeah, that's Aslan the lion.
I did like his roar in the new movie. The old one, I didn't like his roar at all.
It wasn't the roar that I had a problem with in this version.
Oh, and the roar comes out of the animatronic head.
Yeah.
Which is, why don't they just pre-record it and put it on top of?
Oh, it literally came out of. Oh, I didn't know that. Are you sure?
Yeah, because they in the special that I watched of the whatever.
I need you to send this to me. Was that on YouTube also, or is that okay? Maybe we can link that below. Also, people are like, I don't care. I'm interested though. Okay, clue number 3. Not quite a goat, and not quite a man. I groove in the forest when no one else can. You might confuse me with Tumnus. It's true, but I'm rarer, rowdier. And I don't sip brew.
Oh gosh, I forget the name of the dude or the guy. The mouse?
No, this is somebody very fawn adjacent. They're like fawns, but they're like more chaotic.
I don't remember.
You might have seen one throwing a party in a forest with grape juice. No?
Wait, what? Is that from Alice?
No. This is a satyr.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
There was one when they come to the stone table that's all like when he goes to escort the dwarf in, and he's got this like prance of a walk.
It's like, oh my gosh.
I liked him. I watched that more than once. I was like, I skip back. I want to watch this guy walk again. Number 4, I neigh and I gallop, but I'm more than a steed. With wisdom and arrows and battlefront speed, my body says run, my top half says teach. I'm the best of both worlds and a bit hard to reach.
Does he play on the beach?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the beaver?
No. I neigh and I gallop?
Oh. Minotaur. The Minotaur.
Not Minotaur. What is a Minotaur? I think Minotaur has horns.
Oh, that's right. It's
You're
a bull.
close.
That's a bull, but it has a
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bull's body. Yeah,
This is a
centaur.
yeah, very good.
There you go.
I don't know.
That's what I was thinking.
Once I thought about the word, I don't know why it's called that.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
Like 100 Minotaurs.
Yeah, centaur.
Doesn't matter.
100 minotaurs is a centaur. That's awesome.
That's for you kids. Write that down. Okay, how about this one? She comes with a crown and a constant snow flurry. Her dessert of choice will ruin you in a hurry. She offers warm coats, but don't be misled. Her vibe says queen, but she'll ice your head.
The ice witch.
Yeah.
The white witch.
The white witch. Do you know her name?
Her name is Miranda.
Yes. Miranda. I say we leave it at that. All right. 2 brothers, 2 sisters.
Is it really Miranda?
No. What if you pulled that out of nowhere? No, her name is Jadis. 2 brothers, 2 sisters, some bold, some unsure. They stepped through a wardrobe, then had to endure battles, betrayals, a witch with no chill, and one got addicted to snacks with a bill.
Edmund?
Yeah, this is a little broader. He is the one of the
Children of Adam and Eve.
yeah, sons of Adam and daughters of Eve.
Yeah.
The Pevensey kids.
Oh, Pevensey. That's right.
Can
Oh my
you
gosh.
name them all?
How many times did they say their last name? Because I don't remember their last name.
You know, honestly, I might just know it from the books. I don't know if they ever said it.
Lucy, Susan, Edmund, and Peter.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Peter. Look, I got to do it like this.
I felt a little bit bad
I know.
because the moment one of my kids in particular saw her, he was like, I don't like her. And I was like,
Yeah.
we're casting judgment
Poor lady,
here.
poor girl.
She grew on me though.
She grew up to not to get that fixed, by the way.
Yeah, I looked it up.
Yeah,
I really did. I was like, oh man, if anything is more British than that.
Well, I will say we did watch, because you'd mentioned treats, the Turkish Delight.
Uh-huh.
We did eat Turkish Delight while watching this.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we did.
Have your kids ever had it before?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So our neighbor, she went to Turkey. She's Turkish, but
So-
she went to France with her friends and came back and brought us Turkish Delight.
From France?
Yeah, from France.
French Turkish Delight in
it's-
America.
It's funny. Yeah.
Was it good?
It was really good. It was coconut flake covered, different varieties with I want to say pistachios in some of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
It's a different kind of a sweet because they really play it up in this movie. I, growing up in a Middle Eastern household, still never had Turkish Delight until, I don't know, but you hear about it in this and it's like, oh, Turkish Delight,
Yeah.
the best thing in the world. I could eat a whole room of the Turkish Delight.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, the first time I ate it, I thought this tastes like Windex.
Oh really?
Oh, it was
you
like-
must have not had the right kind.
Later on now, and especially once you add powdered sugar and now I kind of like those rosewater flavors or other things like that. Whereas a kid growing up in America, give me a Snickers bar.
Oh yeah, like full of just sugar and crap.
And chocolate and whatever. But I could get into it now. And
These are good. And the kids, she gave us a pretty big box.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we still have a ton.
Delightful.
Anyway,
Delightful. Clue number 7. We build a dam. We serve you hot tea, but we're human sized, so prepare to scream. We talk and we cook and we're awkwardly tall. Our puppets are nightmare fuel for children and all.
I know this one. These are the beavers.
Yeah, seriously, how big are the beavers?
Look, it's a beaver. I saw its tail.
I love that. And he's like, but he's huge.
Yeah, he's humongous. Oh my gosh.
That I do.
Are they the same actors in they're not. In the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power
Wait, the same actors as who?
as the beavers.
What beavers?
The beavers in this movie.
Yeah, I know, but what Rings of Power beavers? What are you
No.
talking about?
Are the actors that played the beavers, are they the same actors that played the husband and wife in Moria? They kind of reminded me of them too.
No. You know who the Mrs. Beaver is? You might not know this, but
No.
did you guys ever watch Downton Abbey?
My Elizabeth did.
Okay, Elizabeth. And anybody else who's watched Downton Abbey? Mrs. Patmore. She's like the head cook
That's her?
in the kitchen.
Dang.
Yep. And once I looked at it, I was like, no way. And now I can hear her voice, which is
Wow.
weird because I said, like a kid, I had this movie. It's in my head.
Yeah.
So when I hear her, like, talking about
goes
not
back.
wanting to get rid of her sewing machine or whatever, that whole scene, by the way, was really funny. They're like, we need to go. And
Yeah.
she's like, maybe some more bread.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting near the end here. Clue number 8. I'm old and I'm wise and I rent out my home. I believe in good logic, but let kids freely roam. With a house full of coats and a face full of calm, I may or may not own a magical balm.
It's not Mrs. McCready.
No.
What's the guy's name? The professor? Professor something.
Professor Kirk.
Kirk. He's been in Narnia.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely been in Narnia.
He really nods at you at the end.
He's
like,
the voice of Aslan, isn't he?
No. Is he?
I kind of thought that for some reason.
Aslan, it's hard to pin because he talks so slow.
Yeah.
Daughters of Eve.
So that, but I mean, he might be like
Children?
modulating his voice for that.
Children.
Oh
You notice how much he
my
breathes?
gosh, yeah.
When they're riding him through the air and he's like,
No, when he's breathing on everybody.
oh,
the
definitely that. We definitely reenacted that as children. I remember as a kid thinking that was goofy.
That was, yeah. He's like, is it going to be okay? Oh, yes. Once I get his feet, the rest of them will become. He's like, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, that's in the book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, okay. Yeah.
Okay, here, I only have a couple more and then we can get into it. You won't find us in nature or even your dreams. We're animated creatures who shriek and who scheme.
Oh.
We swirl like ghosts in low budget dread, half cartoon, half nightmare, full evil ahead.
What do they call them? I forget. Ghouls?
I really would accept pretty much anything here. The witch's evil cartoon minions.
Yeah.
I mean, there's goblins, demon gremlins when she's like, come to me.
Yeah.
What does she say? Wraiths and demons and little crawly.
Incubuses.
Incubuses. Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I wanted to create a bingo card for today's episode and see how many of our other episodes, I really should have done that. We would have hit. And because I feel like there's a lot of things that I go, oh, winter. They went right into winter. Like Jamaica.
Yeah. Oh my
all the
gosh.
stuff like that.
So she did a great job.
This
That
queen,
actress was
this
great.
white witch was over the top in the best way.
Yeah, dude. She did. She totally put it all there. Like everybody got paid just enough, and they were like, "Hey, we'll give you a little extra."
My favorite moment from Jadis, the White Witch, in this was when she's finding out that it's like the winter ice is melting and she's ticked.
Yeah.
And then she sees the whole family of forest creatures and they're eating and Santa's come. And she's like, he can't have come. He wouldn't have come. And the little fox is like, he did. And she's like, goes to turn him into stone. And Edmund's like, no, it stops her.
Yeah,
And then she does it anyway. But then she goes to Edmund, now for you. And then she just thud right over the back of the head.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my gosh.
She's a very imposing character.
She did such a great job.
Okay.
She was the best actress out of all of them.
Oh, well.
For sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. How about this one? I'm wood on the outside, but magic within. I hide past the coats where adventure begins. I'm just furniture, or so it may seem, but step through me once and you'll live in a dream.
The wardrobe.
The wardrobe. The land of wardrobe in Spare
Spare They say room. Why does he skip the R part?
I think because he's never heard the words before, but yeah, you would think you live in a house. You should know what a room is.
Exactly.
The beavers are cooking on a stove. Certainly you would know what a room is.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we're going to get into it with this episode, but I hope you have seen this. I really like the whole point of this.
If you've watched the modern one, you've watched this one.
Sort of. How well do you remember the modern one?
I mean, I thought I was watching a remake, a stage play of the modern one, basically.
Because it is the book.
Yeah.
But when I told my kids, like, we're watching The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, okay. Like, but the old one, okay.
Yeah.
And then I put it on and they went, oh. When you said the old one, they were thinking the
Yeah.
the new one, because
Yeah.
for them it's old.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, no, the old one. Like
Yeah.
I told you and Kayla last week.
Ezra was like, "Oh, this is really old."
It's from the 1900s. So is the other one, I think.
Oh my
But this
gosh.
first aired, like you said, in 1988 as part of a BBC miniseries
Yeah.
adaptation of
Yeah.
the Chronicles of Narnia. There are other like movies that you can watch that BBC also did.
Yeah, the continuations, right?
Yeah, they did
Yep.
Prince Caspian.
Yep.
And they did The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, right? And The Silver Chair. I think there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid always like, oh, when are they going to make the other ones? Because some of the other books get really interesting, and of course they never did. And then the new series came out, and it's like, oh, maybe they're going to get there. And the thing that I feel like this particular version does well is it does adhere more strictly to the books.
Okay.
For
yeah.
better or for worse.
Wait, doesn't the modern one too?
No, they add this whole extra battle sequence and like they do in movies.
Oh, okay.
But we were
so
talking
the
about
battle sequence with against the witch and all that's not in the book?
No, it is.
Oh, it is.
But in the new, I can't remember. I haven't seen the newer one in a while, but they definitely add stuff to it. And then when you get to like Prince Caspian and stuff, there's a whole bunch of extra stuff.
Yeah.
It's been so long that I've even I have the books on my shelf.
Yeah.
I wanted to reread them and stuff with the kids. But so this is 3 hours. I didn't know when I suggested this to you. I remember it being on 2 VHS tapes, I guess.
Yeah.
But I didn't remember
both
it was
an hour and a half long.
3 hours long. And I'm like, do we split it? But I looked it up on YouTube, and the split would have been, I think, when Edmund reaches the White Witch at her castle.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
would have been a terrible spot to do. Let's do part 2 in a couple months.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So I mean, if you skip ahead to when the little like the ending of each episode. Yeah, I could not believe that that's all John Williams too. Did you know?
No,
It's not. It's
You're
not.
a liar.
I'm just
Yeah, I was
kidding.
like,
I'm just saying this is so bad.
wait. Of all the things in this miniseries, the music I didn't have a problem with.
I'm just you wanted me to go to sleep. I had to watch this when I was like not. Anyway,
That's my French horn.
but if you cut out the little intermission parts, you save yourself, almost 20 minutes of intermission or something like
Yeah,
that.
we
usually.
did
20,
skip
30
through
minutes,
them.
Yeah. So it didn't go too long. But man, I mean, so okay. I want to say, I am liking this story less and less the more I see it.
Oh, really?
I don't know what it is. I remember watching this movie, The Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe, the modern one,
Yeah.
years and years ago.
It's been a while. It really is kind
And
of.
I remember it pretty fondly. Like, oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And then I watched it again. I must have not watched it again until, kids. So I don't know how long it had been, but I watched it again with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so into it.
Yeah.
They loved it. They wanted to watch the second one, the third one, and I lost interest after the second one. I didn't want to watch the third one, and I don't know if the kids ever finished watching the other ones. But
Aren't there only 3?
aren't there only 3? I think.
I think there's only 3 of the newer ones.
And so I didn't watch the third one. I don't think I've ever seen the third one, because I never saw the second one until I saw it with the kids, and I thought, this is terrible.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to watch the third one, and I said, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And then watching the first one, I thought this was not as good as I remembered it. And watching this version
Mm-hmm.
felt like I was watching that other movie. They did. I mean, I'll give it to them. They follow. If the book is like this, they follow the book to the T. In the modern one, I felt like, because if this one was even closer to the book, then that means the modern one was really close to the book, because some of the beats were just spot on. The
Like the iconic lines too,
the
or
lines, the
uh-huh.
delivery. I felt like I was watching it over again, and I was thinking, I don't want to watch this story again.
Okay, this is.
I don't know why, but I don't. So I'm not. So here's the thing. So if I'm gonna take the story away from my experience, because I feel like the story. I think the story is kind of lame. I don't know. I mean, I'm not taking away the fact that there's like the significance of like the gospel in there or whatever, the sacrifice, all that kind of stuff. Just, I mean, that obviously that arc is great, but I'm just like, I just felt like this is definitely more geared towards children, and it's kind of. I felt just like it was kind of dumb, and it's getting dumber and dumber.
What parts like where you're like, okay, no, this is stupid, or this is.
I think the whole thing.
What? I think like the whole thing.
Going into a wardrobe, magical place. These people are kind of dumb, and then like it's really spot on with like, oh, the daughters of Adam and Eve. It's like, come on, man, and then the witch is kind of dumb. Everything's wicked. Everything's cold, but then it gets. All of a sudden Aslan comes back because the kids come back. It's just
he's
so
wild. You can't tame him.
It's like it's so unimaginative, like in like the writing and like, well, I can see everything coming around the corner. I'm like, how did I think this movie was unique when I first saw it?
Yeah,
and then but I will say when I'm watching this one, I didn't think it was that bad. Now there's a lot of moments where there's lack of dialogue and a lot of silent, and you're just like Elizabeth was like, "Are you still watching it?" There's like Did you pause it? There's been no dialogue, just like the background noise of like
the birds or the water,
or like the noise of the microphones.
My kids, Lucy's like, "I don't like this. That high pitched sound. It's too loud." And I'm like, "I don't hear that high pitched sound at all." I heard it, but she had something going on that was like, she's like, "It's starting to hurt my ears." Yeah. And like, I'm so old, I can't even hear it.
You got tinnitus. It just sounds like
I couldn't
tinnitus.
Hear it.
And yeah, so there's just big moments of like quiet, and I know that happens in movies where there's something happening, but usually there's like background music, or you're focused on what's going on, and you have something that propels you into the like montage or whatever. Sure. There's no montage. They're just, we have to walk from this part of the set to that part of the set, and let's just do it. And have a camera on us.
A camera.
It's a camera. Yeah. It's not a one-shotter, guys, like we see today. It's just
budget.
Just cut. And let's get to the other place and let's just cut and go to the other place and let's be there. I don't need to see you walking this entire time.
The one line, or the bit that I'm thinking of in particular where it really stood out to me is where Aslan is standing next to Peter and they're looking at Care Paravel and he's talking about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So slow, and I'm like, is this a matter of just the technology of moving the puppet? Because his mouth doesn't line up with the words anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm like, why? And is it that vibe of like when people try and portray Jesus or something, you're trying to make
it's too spot on,
a little otherworldly, and and it's like, a little too much.
Yeah, it's too reverent.
Yeah,
to the what's it called? The source material.
Yeah, it's the
to
line.
Be interesting.
I remember this in the book. Okay, this is what the story, like the movies, have going for them.
Yeah,
is you take a beloved children's book.
Yeah,
it is a children's book.
Yeah,
right, and you put it on the screen. Like that's what you want. So as a kid, I remember having been familiar with the story, seeing it, going, wow. Like, this is crazy, because I remember, and they said that line, like when he kills the wolf and he's like, "Son of Adam, you forgot to wipe your sword," and he knights him and he's like, "And always remember, wipe your sword," and it's like in the book it's funny, but then when I was a kid and
it's
you saw
unnecessary,
it, you're like, oh, the line, but now you're like, the delivery is weird.
Exactly. Yeah, so I think so. Here's my thing. So the movie, I thought the movie was fine in portraying what the movie's about. Mm-hmm. Right? The acting is not terrible or great. Even it's just subpar. It's just old. It's old. It's a product of their time.
This was a TV, BBC on TV.
The professor was great.
Oh yeah,
he was a great actor, and so I feel like the adults did a really great job. The kids, I mean, that's the same. That happens with kid actors in that time. I think kid actors today have gotten a little bit better. I think technology, cutting, the way we film things, the dialogue we give kids has changed, and so that it's faster paced. It's better. Like kid actors are terrible, but if you give them, like Steven Spielberg, you give him a kid to work with, and all of a sudden that kid is a superstar. I
was going to say that because there were moments in this where I legitimately was like, oh, these kids, I like what they're doing.
Yeah.
The interchange, Edmund is annoying and you want to punch him, and their interaction together as kids and all that stuff. But then you get the scene where they're like following Aslan to the stone table, and it just keeps cutting to the girls, and they're just like, hovering in the
Yeah.
corner, like in the same motion. And I get
You're making them act too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, look, I love how Steven Spielberg talked about the kids in Jurassic Park, and how for them to get real interactions of their faces, he didn't tell them things were coming.
Yeah.
And you would get a real,
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking there's animated ghouls flying through the air. It's not like you could surprise them.
But do something.
Don't tell them the lion's gonna die.
Yeah. Do something to surprise the kids, to get a real emotion out of them. I don't know. Show them, I don't know. Take a chicken, chop its head off or something. Like off screen, and they're like, "Oh my god!"
I would never.
They would get like real. You would get a real. I don't know, something. Maybe that's too extreme, but do something.
Maybe. I remember
in that time, those kids have probably butchered their own chickens in the past. I don't know.
Well, yeah. In 1988 or in World War II.
In World War II.
Yeah.
So no, but the thing is, I what I was thinking when I was watching this movie, they should make this movie an animated movie.
Is there not?
I think they tried to make an animated series that bombed. But I think if somebody does a really good job, animated movie, like Universal or whatever, makes this into an animated movie, that would land better than what we've gotten so far.
I bet there's like a Christian version of it, And
is this not a Christian version?
No, I mean, here's what I mean, without stepping on any toes here. I feel like this is beloved in Christian culture. They're going to be the ones also more passionate about producing it, but they tend to have less means when it comes to production elements too.
Yeah.
So I can imagine this showing up in a Christian bookstore. It's like a step below straight to video.
Yeah.
It's like straight to Christian home video.
Yeah.
And you're like, who made this? And it's like, okay, which is why I'm kind of excited about this upcoming series. Like, I'm not sure I'll agree with everything.
Who's making it?
Greta Gerwig?
Oh, didn't she do
something else?
The Acolyte? The Disney Acolyte series that bombed?
Yeah, no, I don't think that was her.
No.
I'm going to butcher this because I was going to say The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel or something, but
no, I think, oh yes, you're yeah, she didn't do that. She did something else. Well, yeah, that was the controversy. She hasn't really she did one great thing, or she was in one great thing, and she hasn't really proven herself in other places. So
I'm just creating a closing the loop segment here, but she's not the voice of the droid in Solo. What's the droid in Solo? The female?
No, that's not her.
Who is it?
That's Phasma.
No, it's not.
Isn't that the voice of Phasma?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But I don't know if you're right or wrong on that one. But it doesn't matter. I think the thing is, they're going to do this again, and it's going to be this. If it's the same story, I am not going to enjoy it. I think, I don't know. It just keeps getting worse for me.
The more you see it, you're like, okay,
yeah, it's not. It's
the seams.
It's a different. When you watch something over and over again, and you see different things in it, and you're like, oh, I didn't notice that detail. Oh, that was so great. There's nothing in this story, I feel like, that will surprise me or make me think, oh yeah, or there's nothing that pops out at me of.
This is why I keep wanting them to get beyond just the introductory movies, but they keep funding it. And the biggest audience is for The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe because the most people know that instead of all the books in the series.
Yeah.
And I think it's the most easily digestible book. But I'm really get into The Magician's Nephew or The Silver Chair even. I was excited when that BBC version or Lord, The Last Battle, it's very huge. But you're never going to get there because if you have to go through all the other books first, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, maybe they can do something where they condense the whole story. Maybe do a I don't know. I would be kind of tired. I'm not into it enough because I would suggest doing a 2-part movie. Don't do a trilogy. I'm so done with trilogies. I mean, because they're not going to be as good as some of the old stop trying to live up to Star Wars or, whatever other trilogies that are great.
I just don't know if the fan base is big enough to make something like that happen. Because even the one that's coming out now is already so divisive. It's like you love it or you hate it, or you feel like you have to argue one way or the other. And it's like, I just want see a good version of the story, and then I'm done. But then I'm just like, read the book.
I think we've gotten the good version of the story. I don't think you can really make this any better than it is.
Well, I will go back to what you said. I think the professor in this was delightful.
Yeah.
He is a grown version of a character from The Magician's Nephew. So it is carryover. In fact,
cool.
I could be wrong because I haven't read this in a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure the wardrobe is made out of wood from a tree grown from a seed that came from so this is why it has these kind of magical properties.
That's so cool. See, that's the thing so if they make this, I think they need to condense all of the books and all the stories, because it's just, if we keep getting the same Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe story all the time, I'm done. I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
I'm not watching the new one. I don't care if it's good or bad. I know what the story is. I know how it ends. I'm done.
Yeah.
I can keep watching Star Wars because
they're writing that though. It's like there's no books you're basing Star Wars on. So every time they come back to this, it's like you'd have to create something in the world.
But even Lord of the Rings, they made an old version of Lord of the Rings that's almost
the animated one?
No, there's the animated one. They made the animated one, and then the one that Peter Jackson did is very similar. It told the same story, but that's more compelling, and I can go back to watching that and go and pull out different things from it. I feel like Aragon. Like you want to see a definition of a man. Yeah, he can swipe the head off of an orc in one scene and then kneel down and cry with his fellow man, and you know what I mean in the next. That's a powerful dude right there. And this, I can pull so much more meaning out of that story. Maybe there's not as much
to these characters because it's such a quick thing. So I don't even think we talked about the plot. But let me just give it to you really quick. I totally forgot. So you have these 4 kids in war-torn England, in London, that have to leave their home because bombs are falling. They got to get on a train.
What does a lady call them?
Orphans?
No. Evacuees.
Evacuees.
But I don't know why she said that in such a derogatory way. They're evacuees.
Well, yeah, who knows?
I don't understand that.
Well, and again, this is the other thing maybe that the story itself has going for it. As a kid, when you read it, you're identifying with the kid feelings. So leaving your home, going somewhere you don't know, showing up in a big house, that's cool, but also with this mysterious professor and this lady who's basically like an angry, aggressive, school teacher,
housekeeper,
almost, and then they're trying to avoid her. That stuff all feels like I get it. So as a kid, it puts you in it.
Yeah.
We're playing hide and seek in the house. We found a magical land when we thought we were going to be bored out of our minds. We got to live out this big epic story and battle a wolf and fight a witch and then grow up our whole lives.
Yeah.
And then show right back up so at the end of the story, they just pop back into their normal timeline.
Wouldn't that change you though?
Yes. So the second book picks up off of that.
Yeah.
It's like it picks up a year later. They end up going back. But for them as people, as students or kids, they're having a hard time, I believe, readjusting back to just normal life because you have to go back to the playground. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much they remember because if you noticed at the end of this, and I can't remember if this is in the book too, but I think it is, when they're like, what is this strange device? It looks like a tree.
That's right. They do.
Oh, I remember. It's called a lamppost. I'm like, this is a little...
I almost got the sense that as they got closer to the exit,
they started kind of remembering
back
things.
Stuff, yeah.
But it was a little. I don't know how the dynamics of that work anyway.
Yeah, it's so yeah. So they find themselves in this magical place, and everyone is looking forward to humans coming back because humans coming back. There's a prophecy. If humans coming back means the start of the downfall of the witch's rule and power over Narnia.
She's made it an eternal winter.
Yeah,
but never Christmas.
But never Christmas. And then Santa Claus is in here.
Father Christmas.
Which, why?
He's in the story. I kind of like it.
I don't like it.
I just like him as a character.
And then she gives him magic potion to heal people. Anyway, bro. Dude, I would say this is a great story. It's a great movie. It's, It's C.S. Lewis. Everybody loves C.S. Lewis. I'm over it.
Yeah.
This like, I think this sealed the deal for me of like, nah, if I was on a deserted island and I only had a few movies to pick from or stories to pick from, this would definitely not be one of them.
Oh, no. I still, I love the attachment I have to it as a kid and stuff, but yeah, it doesn't sit that much. But as a kid,
Yeah.
I don't
As a
know.
kid, yeah, I'm trying to, maybe I'm just like losing my kid in me or something.
Has
I don't
Eva
know.
read the books yet?
No.
I think like she's like the perfect age where she would really enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think she would. I really think she would. And it's fine. It's a great story. I think it's an amazing story. I just don't, as a movie, it's not.
And I hate to
Great.
keep comparing it to Tolkien, but because I know they were peers, right? And so you have some similar threads in the way that they both write, or maybe the well that they're pulling from.
Yeah.
But where Tolkien is this epic, like thought out world where there's a whole lot of detail. That's all. This felt like playing as a kid. Oh, we're going to go through the wardrobe to a magical land. And look, there's a guy with goat legs and he's serving me tea. And I'm going to go to the beaver's house and we're being chased by a dwarf and a witch. And it just feels like play.
Yeah. So the Aslan character, I mean, there's so much play with, Jesus is coming, his sacrifice and restoring,
You mean the metaphor of him as Jesus?
The metaphor as
Yeah.
Jesus, right? There's all that, which is, I think, a good kind of redemptive type of arc or healing and defeating evil kind of thing, whatever. So, but she comes back, the witch, right?
Yeah.
That's one thing I remember of like number 2 or 3 or something like
She's
that.
sort of like summoned back.
Yeah, so what is that about?
Oh, I don't think it's
whatever.
not a direct analogy.
Yeah, it's not.
It just carries some of the same themes.
But it's funny that it's the themes are there, but it's kind of some of it is really spot on. Like he dies, he comes back to life, and some of it isn't. So it's kind of like what are you? What are you playing?
I think I don't know. I didn't research it enough to really know,
Yeah.
so I'm sure other people will know much better than I do. But I think the themes there of like you said, self-sacrifice, especially when it's like the witch turning people into stone, and then this now resurrected,
She's like Medusa.
Christ-like figure bringing them back.
Yeah.
But not everybody comes back. There are some people that died. So it's like, oh, now all these people that have been hardened because of evil have a chance at new life because of this resurrected king.
Yeah.
That all makes sense. But then when you're like, and I'm going to have these 4 brothers and sisters rule, I guess like
They all wanted to be. He wanted to write all the children as heroes.
yeah, and the biblical narrative of like humans reigning and ruling with God, it
Yeah.
sort of makes sense. But if you put it next to it, it's not the same.
It's not the same. Yeah. So
it just carries some of the same.
it's his
themes.
own like imagination to stuff, and I think it's almost like a doorway or a
Wardrobe?
a wardrobe to that kind of stuff. I mean, I the thing that I kind of I don't know if I enjoyed it, but I thought it was really well thought out was the kid with when Edmund meets the witch,
Mhm.
and he is enticed, and he is told like she tells him, oh, they're gonna say bad things about me, but that's not necessarily the truth, and he kind of believes it. So he's in the in between of like, well, she gave me Turkish delight. She was pretty nice but mean. But I'm kind of mean too, so I
Yeah.
kind of get it. So that whole just tension between like what a terrible brother, but at the same time he's kind of just like what, like I'm just believing what I'm told. Like
Sort of, but you get later on when he's having that conversation with himself.
Yeah.
That he knows.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. So
Ephraim was like, "What the Doctor Strange?"
that's funny.
If you're watching it, like he's going to betray them, and he's trudging through the snow, and then he sits down, and then all of a sudden he comes out of himself, and he's like, "That's the dynamic of him, like his inner thoughts that you're getting."
His
in this.
conscience, yeah, like the good side, the bad side. Actually, they did a really good job with that. I will say.
I think it's one of the most compelling parts of this as a story, and not necessarily the way that it played out, but that narrative.
Yeah.
Because you look at this guy and you don't have compassion for him. He's a jerk.
Yeah.
He's like teasing his sister. He's just mean, But Like kids are like that.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the part that I was like, this is real.
And then you get to like Aslan, right? Who's giving up his life for this kid who doesn't deserve it. This is a very biblical theme,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
But then you get redemption, and at the end where he's like kneeling before the lion and whatever, they're like, oh, Edmund's himself again. And you realize, oh, he's kind of been on this arc since before we saw him at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, because war torn and all that kind of stuff, it's gonna affect you. You know what I mean?
So he's got stuff going on. By the time they get to the countryside, he's already got this inner turmoil. We don't get all that.
Yeah.
You just get a glimpse of him in this, and you're like, wow.
I think they do a little bit better job of that with the modern.
Maybe so.
Modern
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because they show you a little bit more about of them beforehand, or at least traveling to. Where did they travel to? That house it's not his uncle, the professor's house.
No, it's just they don't know. It was just like people were taking kids in from the war, so it wasn't somebody that they knew.
It's an interesting. Like I said, it's a good story. I feel like maybe I should go back and watch the modern one to kind of like cleanse my palate from this one again. But there's no surprises to me, I guess, in the way it's written. There's no turning the corner. I can almost see like the plot twists all coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's not surprising me, but I've seen it so many times too. I will say that coming back to this after so many years, when I saw Aslan the first time, I was a little disappointed. Because I remember the feeling of that as a kid, like the mysterious nature of him showing up, but in this movie, when they're like, the first time the beavers are like, Aslan is on the move, and all the children slowly look up. Did you notice that one by one? It goes through each kid and they all go, they just
Why?
lift their eyes to, because it's this like, God's coming essentially moment.
Gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't even know who he is, but they have this reverence for him. They kind of build it up. And then when you see him, you're like, okay. And I just have a heart more for him in the book. And even Liam Neeson voicing him in the newer one, I remember, and I haven't seen that one in a while, that playing out a little bit better. Because then when you get the interplay of him with the girls who are like, they're all afraid of this lion. And then these two girls cultivate this close relationship with him where they've got their hands on his mane and he's walking with them.
Yeah.
And you get this tender heart, which I feel like has a lot of ties or symbolism to how we view God now, where you realize, oh, like you can have this image of God that's this scary, reverential fear, but then also personal through Jesus, which I think is what this image kind of does for you.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I think they do a good job of that in both. I do know that when they watching that behind the making of the lion or whatever, they softened his eyes, the way the curve of his eyes.
Oh, did they look a little aggressive at first?
To make them because a real lion has more of an aggressive look,
mm-hmm.
and so they made it so it doesn't look so mean or aggressive, and it kind of It's the times. They don't have the technology to change it up, whatever. I think in the modern movie, you can see when he does roar, it looks just more like a real lion.
Did they say in this behind the scenes thing, I am assuming they make him fly at the end because it's too hard to make him run?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because in the book, he's running super fast, and I don't know what
in the movie he runs.
But in this, it's like
flying.
Hold on. And
I was actually going to ask you that. Is that in the book? He runs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he jumps over the castle wall.
Yeah, this one, and then the way they fall off of him when he lands.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, so I guess that production stuff. I will say the vibe that I get from this movie, as much as I love the story, the whole thing was a little bit unsettling. That's the word that I came back to.
Unsettling, yeah.
Unsettling, like the creatures are weird. So there's a fawn that's out of place anyway. All these like dryads, these tree creatures and whatever they are, it's all like, and you're not wearing clothes and you're all like being a little like seductive, but this is a kid's story. So not, it's all like, what's happening here? I don't know, but there's nothing, there's no implication that it's anything weird. It's just, I don't know what to think about it.
You know what it is, bro? I think what it is you can't make a movie. You can't have a creature that is like half man, half human in a real life like portrayal, because you either because if we've learned anything, like the movie Cats,
That's not well. That's different.
but still, it's unsettling. It doesn't look right.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Okay, so you like the beavers.
The same way with this movie, or even with Alice into the Looking Glass, you can't dress up people in costumes.
I'm glad
and make it look and not make it just bad.
I'm glad
you can't pull it off.
I'm glad they used a puppet for the lion and they didn't make a person.
Yeah, I know
That
for sure.
worked better.
It does for sure.
But then when you have the
But
beavers,
you can't get the facial stuff that you can with like a fully CGI.
the most unsettling was that wolf, Mulgrim, the chief of
Oh,
police.
he goes from a cartoon to a real person.
Yeah,
like
which
you can't.
I get why they did it like that.
Yeah.
But then even him as a character, his weird muzzly snout that's like rubber, and then his roar, I'm like, oh, you are really aggressive. As a kid, it was scary. And it's still a little scary, but for different reasons. It's just unsettling. And and then you get to like the cartoon creatures, not even just the bad ones, the good ones. Then you're like, I forgot about that Kellogg's looking rooster thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the flying, I don't know.
Eagle or whatever it is, or whatever.
Yeah, but there was a couple of them and like a cat
Phoenix
one.
looking one. Yeah,
exactly. And then
that's where I feel like you might as well, with this type of movie, like just make it animated. Make it.
Yeah, this all would have worked. It would have been a little bit more seamless if it was animated.
But I think like not animated in like the Disney animation style, but like make it kind of like they did with the new Lion King stuff.
Yeah, I guess
make it that way.
I don't know how that would work.
Where I know it's CGI, where I know that you made this with CGI, because you get that. If you try to CGI a real person into an animal, you get that uncanny thing. I'm talking
like the Jungle Book.
Like the Jungle Book, yeah. I'm talking, for example, like the dragon in
Lord of the Rings,
Desolation
or the
of Smaug.
Hobbit.
Yeah, in the Hobbit. It's somebody acting it out, but you see a real dragon.
There was a lot of money though in production into that.
Well, sure, but you could do the same thing with a lion. Kind of do it a little bit better. Kind of do it like they did it today with Lion King, and then a fully CGI character. Because here's the thing: when you make a minotaur or a centaur, it's not something we've actually seen in real life,
right?
Right. So when you see a real person in a costume, it just looks cheesy, and it does not. So you can't change the features of somebody's face. So if you make a whole CGI minotaur, there are things and aspects that we will buy because it doesn't exist in real life, and you're not selling to us as a real person.
Yeah,
it's a created creature, and all of a sudden it's more acceptable to our eyes and our brain.
Sure.
Even the movement will be different because it's not natural. A minotaur, a person dressed up as a minotaur, can't move correctly. He's going to move like he's a real person, but then he's got this thing attached to him. Can't sell it. You know what I mean? Make it full CG, embrace it, change the features. It's like, oh, this is not a real person.
Do you remember?
I don't know. I think that this whole movie should be redone.
Oh, you do?
As an animation.
But there is something to it being real vivid, like this is real life. But so you're saying like computer animation, not
just make it
animation.
Make it like a game, like a video game. Like, use real world engine, use mocap suits,
it's been pitched,
all that kind of stuff. Because if they do this again with real people interacting with CGI characters, man, if you don't have someone like what's his name, Michael Bay, or who did is it Michael Bay who did
Transformers?
Not Transformers. Avatar.
Oh, no. Titanic. You said Michael Bay, and that's all I can think. James Cameron.
James Cameron. If you don't have James Cameron making something like this, it's not going to be good. I'm sorry, people.
My hot take is I don't really like Avatar, so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, if you
technology,
if you use that technology to make this story, all bets are off. I think it would be really good, even with a subpar story.
Interesting. I have a hard time, but I have a bad taste in my mouth for Avatar, so I don't know.
Something like that. Have you seen any of the monkey movies?
Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dude, if you do it that way, it would be so much better.
Do you think you would like the story?
No.
So then what's the point?
You're trying to sell it to an audience that loves the story.
All right.
Sell it to them and then make us who like production value.
Yeah, appreciate it. At least I'll sit there and watch it with my kids.
Yeah, I want to be able to watch this on Corridor Digital, shout out, and go, VFX artists react to awesome CGI and have Narnia be part of that. But it's never going to be if you're going to do it subpar like this.
Oh, that's your hot take. I mean, it's coming out. When does the new one come out on Netflix?
I don't know. I don't care.
Oh, man, I hope it's amazing, and then you have to take that all back.
I hope so. No, I hope I eat my words. I hope they do a really good job, and I hope they make me like the story, because the more and more I see it, the more and more I'm like, this story is not that good.
So we're talking, what do we think of this? And now in terms of, is it worth revisiting? Is it all nostalgia, or does it hold up? And I will say, before you get where I think I know you're going, like I said, the faithfulness to the structure of the book, I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
The music, I wrote a note that I'm like, this could have been bad.
I could take it or leave it.
For a TV thing, I liked what they did there.
It felt very TV music.
And I think the emotional beats, like Aslan giving up his life and the girls, feeling that, like those things, I think even though, the table was made out of foam or whatever, it that worked for me.
Yeah.
But the things that didn't age well were the costumes, for sure. That wolf was
That's really
terrible.
hard to do, though. Of course, that's not gonna. I'm being kind of harsh on them, but for the time,
1988
costumes aren't going to hold up.
The mic bumps, whatever. The boys battling the cartoon beasts.
Oh gosh,
just a little bit of planning. It could have looked a little bit better. And the White Witch was great and dramatic, but her vibe was so different than everybody else. And the one thing I sent you the picture, Edmund's grumpy face,
that's right,
looked just like Mrs. Cole from Liar Liar.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to stick a picture on the screen. I don't know if I could do it side by side, but he was making this face. I'm like, who does he remind me of? I was like, oh.
I forget the actress's name, but yeah. It's not Jennifer Tilly, is it?
I don't remember.
I think it might be. Anyway.
So, and then I think like the ending of the story and then kind of coming out, like the story itself is what I like.
What do you think of their costumes when they were adults?
No, the costumes were ridiculous. They looked like somebody dressing up in costumes, even when they get their crowns. So at the very end, right?
Yeah.
They get crowned in Cair Paravel. These mysterious crowns appear with the beams of light on their heads, in this really small room. They go to this giant castle and then it cuts to their throne room and the chairs. I'm like, those chairs are like, it might have been the size of this studio.
Yeah.
They're just real tight together. And then the crowns come down and then they go out to the beach, the children, and they throw their robes on the sand, and they're like, it's just simple whatever white thing, and they're like playing with their crown, their royal crown, magical crowns on their heads.
They're not going to rust, It's fine.
And then they come back and they get their clothes back from the beavers who were like dusting the sand off. I'm like, okay, it was a little, the costuming in this was a bit. It just felt like dress up. It felt like that.
It did. It did. I mean, they had to. What was this filmed in? Like 720, 480? 720 or 480p or something like that? You can't. Yeah.
There was one line I was going to look up, because have you ever heard that C.S. Lewis, defense of Christ, and he's like, Jesus was either a liar, he was a lunatic, or he was who he says he is. He's Lord, his whole whatever.
Yeah,
There was some drop like that I had never noticed before, and it was
in the movie.
Yeah, about the witch. It was, is a queen. When they're talking about whether or not she's who she says he is.
She
is.
Yeah.
She's either lying, mad, or telling the truth.
Oh no, they're talking about Lucy.
Yeah. Thank you.
They're talking about Lucy. The professor is saying that about Lucy.
Who is C.S. Lewis?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
So when I saw, that was it. The professor, when he said that, I thought, oh, that reminds me exactly of what C.S. Lewis wrote. Like, when you think about what she's saying, she's either lying, she's crazy, or you have to consider she's telling the truth.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah.
That moment. That one little moment.
That means the witch is either lying, telling the truth, or mad. And she turned out to be mad.
Yeah, she was mad. Mad and mad. So all that to be said.
Mad about you? No.
I have a nostalgic place in my heart for this, but
Yeah.
this feels like it's nostalgia.
Yeah, I think it's totally nostalgia. I don't think it holds up. You know, man, I'm going to go out there and say I don't think the story holds up.
Read the book. You should read the book this summer with Eva and come back for season 3. And then
All right.
you could still be like, you know what? No, but I think especially through the eyes of a child, it works.
I think this is one of those books or stories that is better on books. And I can believe when somebody says, oh, it's so much better in the book. I think when you leave it up to each person's imagination when they're reading the material, I think I almost have a feeling that that's where that lives.
Yeah.
In a better light. When you have other people's imaginations coming together to put something on, each person comes with something differently. And I think this story suffers from, well, no, I imagine it this way. No, I imagine it that way. And it lacks. I think there's too many compromise, or it's just, hey, this belongs in people's hearts and minds, not as something to like,
it is weird.
Piecemeal together by different people.
And you're imagining, like when you read about a battle in the book, I'm not thinking like then you see it on TV and it's the huddle of the witch and her weird little creatures and then the huddle of the little kids and their whatever. It's like, oh, this feels, and then I don't know. It just didn't,
I think that's
translate as well as it does in my head.
We keep kind of comparing it to Lord of the Rings, and I think that's where I think Peter Jackson had a little more. I feel like maybe he had way more control over the imagination of it all and more input of like, I don't care what you guys thought about when you read the book and how you imagined it, but this is how I imagine it and we're going to make it my way. As opposed to this, I feel like it has too many other people's preferences in it because somebody said, oh, let's dress people up. Some other people said, no, let's animate the animals. And some other people said, well, let's just use
a puppet,
and that's where I feel it feels really chunky in that way because.
Yeah. We split everybody up into committees. You guys are in charge of the lion. You're in charge of dressing the kids. You're in charge of the animal creatures, whatever.
Yeah.
And they all came together like, here's what we're doing. Like, okay, let's put it all together.
Yeah. I feel like the modern movie did a little bit better job at that. It's more cohesive in that way. But yeah, I mean, this movie, I would say it's nostalgia. I'm with you on that one. Read the book. I'm going to read the book. I'll make an effort to read the book with Eva. And, I'll when I'm done, I'll let you guys know if I like the story any more than I do now.
Yeah. I mean, even the whole plot device of Turkish Delight, trying to explain that to somebody now, I don't know if that would even translate, but
What do you think it's going to be now?
I mean, it'll have to, I don't know. They wouldn't change it. You think they're going to modernize it and make it some other kind of...
Yeah. Like, what would you like, little boy? Oreo cookies. I don't know.
I don't know.
Here are Oreo cookies. Don't eat them all or you get a stomach ache. I don't know. Something like that.
Well, okay. So we're saying it doesn't hold up, everybody.
It doesn't hold up.
If you're going to introduce anybody to any form of this media, start with the book.
Start with the book or even the modern, even the movies. No.
As they skip them. Especially maybe the first one. But as it gets on, they get further and further in my mind, and I did not like that.
I don't... Does the first book encompass more of the story?
You mean get into more of the details?
Yeah, or after they come back. Does it get into?
No.
So you have to read the second book
to find out what happens next. Yeah.
So the first book is pretty much what this first movie is.
Yeah.
Man.
It's a cool adventure for a kid, and it sets you right back up where you started. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have opinions about it, and I would love to hear it. You can let us know in the comments, or you can scroll to that poll and just tell us, you know what, this holds up, pure nostalgia, or throw a comment. Tell us what your favorite version or not favorite version is of it, because...
Let us know if we should watch the modern movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's old enough that's pretty much also nostalgic at this point. You can find links to that and all the other stuff at wdyt.show. That's What Do You Think? For a closing segment today, though, I have one short little quiz segment.
All right, let's
just to set us up, leaving the world of Narnia.
Yay.
But you can grab. I actually have the books are right there. I don't know if I can reach them.
The little ones, I can. They're little books. I thought they were bigger books.
Nope, that's only for kids. So this last quiz, it's all dusty too. This is all the books in the series. There are 7 of them.
She looks very seductive.
I know. There's these undertones there too, but you know.
See, that lion looks great. A major motion picture holiday 2005.
Okay, a little bit of trivia. There are 7 books in the series. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was the first one written. But now when they sell them in sequential order, meaning The Magician's Nephew is listed first because it is the oldest chronologically. And that's like telling somebody, I think, to start Star Wars in episode 1. I think it's a bad idea. So if you're going to read this, please start with that one. But we have 7 books here, and I am calling this one Narnia, Fact, Fiction, or Forgotten. And so
I do love the smell of books, though. I really do.
Takes you back.
Yeah.
You have to guess where these moments come from. If it's from, just guess the book that it comes from, or if I made it up.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool.
So the books that you have are The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Prince Caspian. That's when all 4 of them go back, and then they meet a descendant like years later of a different whatever kingdom. The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That's only 2 of them come back at that book, Lucy and Edmund, because the other 2 are too old. And they bring their cousin or something, Eustace.
Okay.
Or as my wife likes to say, Oostance.
Oostance. I like that.
Book number 4, The Silver Chair. That's, I think, just Eustace and his friend Jill going back for a whole other journey. Book 5, this is in the order they're written, the Horse and His Boy. But that actually takes place while they're kings and queens in Narnia, but somewhere else.
What the heck?
The Magician's Nephew, which is a story of the professor and all the beginning stuff way back. And then The Last Battle, which is essentially the end of the world.
Okay. The world of man?
The
Middle Earth?
It starts to tie together. Okay. So
do you get a feeling that he wrote a really good book the first time and they were like, you got to keep writing? He's like, I have no idea what to write about, guys. And then he just kept going.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I kind of get the feeling like
Lewis wrote a lot though.
Yeah.
On all kinds of things. I told you, did we talk about the space trilogy? Like that's a whole other thing. And that's a higher education level necessary than these ones.
Man.
Question number 1. Tell me which book this plot comes from. A young boy turns into a dragon after greedily falling asleep on a cursed treasure hoard.
The Horse and His Boy.
That is incorrect. Would you like a second guess? I wish I had hints, but I don't.
The Magician's Nephew?
No, this one is from Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Oh,
They're on like that's the movie that you skipped, but it happens in that movie, the third new one. Number 2. A talking horse has to pretend to be mute so that it can cross enemy lines without being exposed.
The Horse and Its Boy.
That is true. Bree the talking horse. He pretends to be an ordinary dumb beast while traveling. Yeah.
Is it a female horse?
Bree. No, I don't think so.
Bree. Bree.
Number 3.
Bree.
A centaur reads the stars, determines that a great change is coming, and gallops off into the forest to avoid contact with humans.
The Silver Chair?
Nope, that one is not even just made up. That's from Harry Potter. Frenzy the centaur in the Order of the Phoenix does exactly this.
Dang.
But, same kind of creature. Okay, a pool in a quiet wood leads to multiple different worlds, including Charn and Narnia.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader?
No, that is from The Magician's Nephew.
Okay.
I don't expect you to know any of these, but it's interesting that you might or might not put them together with the titles. Who knows? A princess turned into a golden statue and hidden in a forgotten chamber under the ruins of Cair Paravel, waiting for the rightful king to awaken him.
Wow. The Silver Chair?
That is made up. It does sound probably the most like The Silver Chair.
Huh.
It sounds interesting. And if I remember The Silver Chair correctly, I remember that one being pretty compelling.
It's all made up to me.
That's true. That's true. Why are we even doing this quiz? This is for you guys. Let us know how you do below. An owl hosts a secret midnight council in a ruined tower, complete with a snack table and very sleepy guests.
The Magician's Nephew.
No, this is The Silver Chair.
God.
It's definitely not this magician's nephew. This one was pulled ChatGPT. The Parliament of Owls. I was actually going to guess that it was from Prince Caspian.
Oh, really?
Man, I'm gonna have to look that one back up. Okay, let me see. A dwarf stages a fake Aslan appearance by hiding a donkey in a lion costume.
Whoa. That's, man, the magician's nephew?
No, it's the last battle.
Oh, the last battle.
Yes, there's an ape. His name is Shift, and he dresses up Puzzle, the donkey, and then there's
Lies and treachery.
Lies and treachery.
I should have read the back of the book first, guys.
The Pevensey kids briefly return to Narnia only to find it overrun with pirates from the real world.
Whoa. Is that not Prince Caspian?
No, it's made up.
Oh, it's made up. Okay.
But Pirate Narnia, I mean, maybe that's a potential spin-off series we can consider.
Hey, maybe C.S. Lewis should think of writing that.
It's basically Peter Pan.
It's basically Peter Pan.
You know, like, how did these pirates get here? I don't know. All right, here's the last one. A witch uses a serpent's venom and hypnotic fire to convince the heroes that Narnia was only a dream.
The last battle.
Nah, it's the silver chair.
Dang it.
Lady of Green Kirtle, a.k.a. the Emerald Witch, almost gaslights them into forgetting everything.
Why do you suppose that he was so into magic?
I don't know, but you could say the same about Tolkien. Not necessarily about magic, but you know, like he got on a train and that was just his thing. I just, you know, you like what you like.
I guess, yeah. You like what you like.
But there is a lot, like this movie is like driven by plot of incantations and prophecies and spells and it's a whole.
Yeah, that whole line where he says, you know, the witch knew about this incantation, but she didn't know about the incantation.
Before the dawn of time.
There was another incantation that he was basically kind of insinuated that, like, I didn't know it was going to work, guys.
I just had never been tried before.
Never been tried before. It's like, wow, all right. You really risked it there. You didn't even know that was going to work. Woo.
I had heard a rumor.
Yeah, could you imagine if they came back and his corpse was just rotting away? They're like, oh.
Well, they kind of did.
Well, but what if it really was?
Yeah, that's terrible. That's really sad. That would be a pretty sad ending.
It flies everywhere.
All the cutaways, by the way, of all the violence in this movie, when she stabs the lion, she's like,
they cut away.
Die. But I'm like, where do you stab that thing? Just one hit to
and
kill
it dies.
that lion.
Yeah, the heart. If you know, I don't know. You would have to hit the heart, but not with that blade. It was like this big, that big old lion. It probably hurt him. That's it.
I don't know. He must be shaved.
You must be shaved.
Next week, guys, we are coming back with a mini-sode to tease our final magical movie of the summer, and I'm excited about that. So the way we do these mini-sodes is
love it.
Come back with shorter episodes. They're more game-based, and we're going to be teasing what's next. So see if you guess what it is before we reveal it next week. But yeah, thanks to everybody who watched this with us. Thanks to everybody who has given us 5 stars.
Thank you so much.
You can attach any kind of review you want as long as you attach it to 5 stars in Apple or Spotify or wherever you are listening. And we would greatly appreciate it. Come back next week and it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
At least I think so. You're running things,
it will
right?
be. Yes.
So who knows? I have high hopes.
High hopes. What is that from?
For the living.
All right, everybody.
We'll see you next time on What Do You Think of This?
Peace.
Bye.